Hey everyone, Jack with Cryton Chronicles,
Hi, I'm Kate.
and we're here to review Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 4, The Spoils of War. Speaking of spoils, this, in case you didn't see it in the title, these reviews have all been spoiler reviews, so if you want spoiler free, you won't find it here. It's kind of hard to talk about, in my opinion, without the spoilers with this, but I don't know. If I can find a way, I'd like to do a spoiler-free version, but for now, these are spoiler reviews, so just so you know. This episode was pretty epic, really.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of try to start with some of the lesser and build up to, obviously the finale kind of stuff. So, not finale, but you know what I'm talking about, the episode. So we'll start with Bran, Littlefinger, Mira. Mira's part was just a little small blip, but pretty much just more creepy Bran,
Right.
I guess. I really like Bran, even given the whole thing before with Sansa and the whole "you were beautiful that night," and it was ripe for memes that came out eventually and everything that were hilarious, and because it was creepy and yeah. But I just like his just stoic, matter of fact, just emotionless, just this is what it is and whatever. So
He takes his new role very seriously.
yeah, he's just this is what it is, and that's cool. He's the three-eyed raven. So he and Littlefinger had an exchange. Littlefinger offered him a dagger that was, used to attempt to murder him. He claimed that when Bran asked, he didn't know where it came from, but he seemed to have known earlier in the series, I believe. So, and I think they even recapped that a little bit before the episode, and because they said it was like Tyrion Lannisters or whatever. And then I think throughout the series, he found out that it was maybe taken or given to like his brother or something or whatnot, and then obviously given to the cutthroat and so on and so forth. So gave him the dagger, kind of swore his like allegiance in a way to protecting the children and stuff, and he's already sworn allegiance to House Stark basically, but but yeah, so this is actually one of my. There was a scene in it I really liked where like Littlefinger was talking to Bran, and then out of the blue, Bran just cut him off after mentioning chaos, and he says chaos is a ladder. And I couldn't hear him at first. I thought he was naming someone. I had to look up after the episode and stuff and find online because I don't know if I just couldn't hear it. It sounded like he was saying a name, but so it's chaos is a ladder, which makes sense because that's what Littlefinger himself had said. He had that whole ladder, chaos is a ladder speech. I don't even know what season, maybe 3 or something. I don't know, but either way, it was to Varys and stuff, and just the look on Littlefinger's face when he had repeated that, like it was like not sure what to make of it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what he's thinking in his head, but he's kind of like thinking. I mean, he's got to be like, what the hell, kind of a deal. Like, so it's very possible, like with all this talk of Bran seeing visions and knowing more than he does. Like I'm assuming he's going to be the type of character that's going to like maybe take that seriously after that little cue and maybe feel threatened by it. It's kind of hard to say because he has so many secrets. So
he's a man of sneaky secrets.
Yeah, so it's like like Bran potentially knows he's responsible for his father and all these other things that have taken place, and their aunt and everything. Technically, I guess I forgot all about her. Pushed her right out the sky window or whatever the hell that was.
Yep.
So so I don't know, but I really like that scene, and then Mira kind of came in after, and Littlefinger departed, and there was just kind of a little exchange just to show Bran's like just emotionalist state that he's in now, where she was leaving and he didn't really have much to say about it. He's like, nope, I don't need you. Cool.
Yeah, I'm safe here now, and she
later, sucker.
Yeah,
like
she proves
she had said
I lost my brother, for you, and
blew him up.
Yeah.
Thanks, children of the forest. So,
just complete blank face.
Yeah. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
So sticking in the Winterfell section of the episodes, Arya finally showed up to Winterfell. She does not have the ability to teleport, so it takes her And then she also had issues getting into Winterfell, which I thought was kind of odd.
Yeah.
Because, like, Dragonstone, like, the Red Witch, and all these people just come in and out. Even Jon and his ship just shows up, and they're just like, hey, you know, like, let's not send out dragons. Like, apparently there was no dragons flying around at that point, because otherwise you would have seen them before that introduction, which I liked. Yeah. But, like, still was like, this whole time, like, nobody's, like, protecting or guarding. Like, I don't know. I know they sent for them, I guess, technically. But, I mean...
They can't seem to see any ships ever approaching, and now they know.
Yeah, and it was just the whatever, and who knows? They don't know if he's good or if he's going to attack them, or, you know, but he just had a few Dothraki, I guess. I don't know. Either way. So, Arya can't get into freaking Winterfell. So she stopped at by the guards at the gate, or whoever, some soldiers and stuff. And eventually, though, she's reunited with Sansa. Yep. And they kind of have a heartwarming, you know, reunion. Yeah, reunion. And so down in the whatever under place, wherever they had the statues and carvings of the family and stuff. And I don't remember what it is, but so, you know, they joke a little bit, and then she tells them about Bran being back. Yep. And so, you know, he's out by his tree of the old gods or whatever, like, you know, the faces in the tree or whatever, and he's just sitting there like his creepy self and just chilling, probably doing visions. They haven't really shown any visions. They talk about him knowing these things, but they don't really, like, touch on what he has seen. Like, it would be kind of nice.
Yeah, well, it did. You know, it's more of that mystical factor that we can say that this is kind of...
It's, like, there, but they don't really highlight it a lot anymore.
They reference it, but they don't show any of it.
Yeah, it'd be... I feel like they should do some of that. I mean, because it was so prominent in the last series when he was training with the Red Raven, like, they did the visions and went to the past and all stuff, so it'd be nice to see some kind of visions or give some sense that he's, like, what he's seen and all this stuff, and, like, to some extent, maybe even future stuff, or even more past stuff, whatever, I don't know. I think it'd be cool, but, so I think it's kind of a missed opportunity that's kind of, like, passing by, as they just kind of say, oh, he sees visions, and he knows all these things about people, but he's kind of says nonsensical, like, non-important things. I guess he brought up the list to Arya and stuff, and
which Arya and Sansa have that
talk about
the list, because Arya was saying, I'm going to King's Landing, and you know, and Cersei's on her list, and Sansa just kind of like joked with her about it, you know?
I guess subtly, without knowing, like, without thinking about it, I guess, is they kind of show that he doesn't quite have so many visions, because he said, I thought you'd be going to King's Landing. So he knew that was happening, but not that she was coming back or would be there. Right. So maybe that's kind of showing how he's still fragmented in his visions and stuff. But, like, so he offers, though, because he says it has no use for a cripple, the dagger. It's a Valyrian steel dagger, which is important because it's, you know, White Walker killing, you know. So, so he gives her the dagger, and they just, you know, bring up the list and kind of just...
Sansa's like, oh shit, this is an actual thing.
Yeah, like, her takes it in or whatever. It's like, so obviously, you know, he does see visions, and they're kind of accepting that, I guess, and it's just kind of, it is what it is. Yeah. So, and then with Arya, she eventually kind of reunites with Bran, who tried to rescue her from the Hound and stuff like that, and, you know, how that all went down. If you've been watching, not too well. Yeah. And refused to, but then, you know, they kind of reunite in a lot of reuniting going on here.
Arya's home.
Yeah, true. And, you know, so, you know, Brienne's kind of been there when at least the two girls, because they thought Bran was dead for a while, I think, because of the whole thing with Theon. But, so, like, so they do, like, the sparring and stuff, which was a really cool scene. I don't know how realistic it kind of was. Obviously, they're just sparring. If it was in real combat, some of the stuff would be like, well, would she have been able to one-up the individual fighting her, because she was, like, on her back for, like, 15 seconds, whatever that was, a while, and, like, you know, and then she did her cool little flip up and whatever, so, but they were sparring, so I get it, but, yeah, I don't know, I like that, and then, because they haven't really highlighted Bran a whole lot either. I feel like everybody's all huge on that.
On her being there, but not, like, you know, she has a pretty cool role, so it's nice that they're touching on her a little bit more.
Rather than just, I can't remember his name now, and so people probably, that guy, like, they seem to want to, like, I think it's because so many fans are like, oh, I want that Wildling guy. Oh, I can't remember his name now. But, like, wanting to hook up with her and stuff, like, and they kind of play that in, and I'm hoping they just don't do it for the sake of whatever, because people are like, oh, I want this to happen, and they're going to just throw it in there, have, like, that happen, like, just like it was kind of weird with the singer being in there.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, Ed Sheeran, who I thought was gonna have a little more than that. It was literally just thrown in for like a nod cameo. So.
Yeah.
But so hopefully there's not weird like fan interference in terms of what the showrunners do with it, with the writers and whatever and stuff. But I don't know, we'll see. But that was a cool scene, and you had Sansa seemed kind of unsettled with Arya's fighting and whatever. Though Littlefinger seemed like it was. He got into it.
Yeah.
And, but it made me wonder.
He almost looked a little concerned, though, too, because...
Like, at first, at the end, kind of, when she was just staring at him. That's where I can't remember if he's on her list.
I don't know.
I mean...
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, like, I can't remember if Littlefinger's on there. So, she seemed surprised that Littlefinger was there.
Yeah.
And so, who's to say? But, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that was pretty much the Winterfell and the Stark children and stuff. Mm-hmm. Pretty much then Jon Snow and Daenerys.
Yep.
Pretty much Jon Snow has like summoned Daenerys, who they go down into the caves or whatever, and into the mines or whatever, and they just ton of dragon glass.
Yes.
So shows her a ton of dragon glass, and the music there was really nice. I thought it was really cool, like very thematic kind of. I don't know. I just thought it was really, really good. But so they kind of built that up, but then they kind of show like that he wanted to show her that there was more there, and pretty much went further into cave, and there was all these hieroglyphics all over, which was cool. It's like almost like ancient carvings or paintings and stuff like that. Very kind of simple or whatnot, but and he's like, the children of the forest drew these or made these, I should say, or etched these, or whatever the case is, and kind of showing how they, how they were fighting together, as a common cause against the White Walkers.
Yep.
So, and he kind of used that to segue into like telling Daenerys that's what they need to do, and she was like, kneel, and I don't, so it's kind of like, well, so, but otherwise, which was cool, but, you got to remember too, like, the children of the forest created the White Walkers, at least the first White Walker, who may be the Night King, maybe. If he was the first, and because, you saw were when he was taking, I think it was Craster's children, the boys or whatever, I think it was just the boys, but like, and, well, obviously, because he had all those daughters, or whatever, all those women in there, but, like, so, and they, like, just touched him and then turned him into whatever, so, like, maybe, that's the first one, and he's the Night King, I'm assuming, because you'd think he'd be the leader, so anyway, the children made that, so, they had to fight together, but that's because they freaking effed up and created that, because they were afraid of the first men and being wiped out and all this, and then that was created, and then they had to fight together or whatever. So I'm kind of curious what the story is as to what exactly happened. Like, okay, so if they did that, they teamed up with the first men, just, like, maybe they didn't kill all the White Walkers. What happened to the White Walkers? Were they, like, secluded somehow? Because all of a sudden now they're coming back, and,
Yeah.
So I'm really curious of that backstory. I'm really kind of curious how Jon Snow would even know that the children of the forest had made them.
I know, yeah. Like, it was like, yeah.
That seemed weird.
It did seem weird. Like, you just know that these are what these hieroglyphics are telling you.
Like, this was by the, he knows who did it, and he knows what they mean. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I mean, it was very vague, because it was just little pictures, and they clearly showed White Walkers, but it's like, I don't know. So, I don't know. It seemed more like just a story-driven kind of thing to put in there, and just to quicken like some weird explanation, or kind of like show for that plot purpose of trying to segue into telling her to.
And it seemed a little weird too that Daenerys didn't really know of them at all. Like, I understand.
Yeah, if that's her home.
That's her home.
Like,
That's
there should be some kind of like history. Like, they should know. Like, and she, maybe she herself. I don't know, because that's the whole thing. I don't really know, like, a lot of her past and with her brother and father and like all that, but like at the same time, it's if that's their place, like, they should know about the dragon glass, and like have history about it, and if that's like the White Walkers, like, I don't know, that stuff is kind of
It's just disconnected and
I don't think they'll even bother. They're just
no,
like, that don't matter.
They're using it as like you said, like a segue to like
just kind of like a plot device just to move stuff along.
Right.
So,
right.
But so, and then eventually we had another reunion with Jon Snow and Theon. He showed up on the shore and Dragonstone, and so they just stroll up and have their interaction. Like I thought Jon Snow was at least gonna like hit him,
punch
I guess,
him
do something. If not, I know you understand he doesn't. He's not really a type that like take revenge and murder or whatever for the most part.
Yeah.
But like he pretty much fucked his brother and all that other stuff.
Right.
But he doesn't exactly probably know. I don't remember if Sansa told her everything or stuff. If she even knows what happened to Theon and his whole like whatever. But so they just have he basically just told him that the reason he wasn't dead is because he helped Sansa. So, but otherwise it was pretty brief. And, Theon was looking for Daenerys. And then we get to this epic conclusion to the episode, which was Daenerys and Drogon and the Dothraki and everything basically attacking Jaime's army. And the army had just left Highgarden. They had just gotten all their supplies, all the gold made payouts, I'm assuming, to some lieutenants, stuff like Bronn and Sam's father. I can't remember his name at the moment, but maybe Derek. I can't remember. Whoever Jamie Kenny remembers his name either, so whatever. So those people, So and they were, there was one point where Bronn was asking about, trying to get more payment because he was promised a kingdom, but Jamie's like, we'll wait until the end. And Bronn, who I thought was Brom, so I don't know, it's hard to tell forever, I guess, or I just forgot, but so Bronn. And they were at one point just talking about the supplies and trying to gather stuff, and Bronn, I think it was, heard like the Dothraki army coming, and
right, yeah,
out of the
just like listen,
listen, like he was so I have an issue with this as much as I really like the scene because this whole scene played out really awesome.
Right.
For the most part. I mean, just all the shots, the music, everything, just the special effects, and especially Drogon, just looked awesome, and then just all the whatever. So, so all of a sudden you got the Dothraki coming down, and I had issue because like they should have just shown a scene where like one, Jaime probably would have. I can't imagine him not having scouts out.
Right, yeah.
And all that stuff, like, no scouts. If he did, then show them, and maybe the Dothraki somehow got the drop on them. Or something. Or even showing the Dothraki, for some reason they decided not to, have a Dothraki scout kind of, like, looking over and seeing the army and then, like, reporting back or whatever.
Right.
Because all we see is, like, all of a sudden they're just, like, mad rushing down this hill that you can't see over.
Yeah.
And they're not going to see really beyond because
They were, like, more or less setting up camp or whatever, so they're not really... They weren't ready, obviously.
Well, no, they were still moving and stuff. I'm talking to Dothraki. I mean, they wouldn't still see the other way. So they wouldn't see each other, but they're, like, still just, like, going at it.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden, they're, like, charging down the hill.
Right.
And it's like, well, it'd take, like, literally a minute, basically, for just a short little scene to, like... It's those little details that we've talked about that they seem to just blow off. Because not only the fact that they kind of, like... Army teleported again. I always say that because I don't know exactly the distance, but all of a sudden they're there. They obviously weren't running mad dash that entire speed the entire way the entire time.
Right.
Like, and so they obviously had some clue that they were there, and you can kind of just take for granted, okay, yeah, they had scouts, but then it's like, well, wouldn't the others? And then you kind of like, well, this is kind of doesn't make sense.
Right. It can be like literally like a couple second clip.
Yeah, it's not even a minute, like 30 seconds, just showing a thing and looking over it and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, play the creepy music and, I see them, okay, and then you kind of, at least a better idea.
Yeah.
But, so, otherwise, I guess beyond that, I thought that the Dothraki army looked like they were just greatly, vastly outnumbered Jaime's army. Because Jaime's army didn't look big at Highgarden.
No.
Like, when they were there and marching on, and apparently not many of them seemed to die.
Right.
But even still, they had, like, a small army, and it was kind of weird that they could take Highgarden. That was a whole other deal last episode. Mm-hmm. But, in this one, they look like they're just getting swarmed by them, the Dothraki, and, but, they played out the fight like it was, like, this long engagement, even though then, obviously, Drogon with Daenerys riding him, and torching through people and everything.
Yep.
So, which was awesome. I really like this scene a lot, despite some of those annoyances, pet peeves. I find myself having like a lot of pet peeves and things that irritate me that associate with some of the finer details.
Yeah, it's
that I feel they're just kind of blowing
yeah.
off so they can just move and move and move.
Right.
And that's a big thing with the teleporting and all that. But yeah, so that scene was great. You know, the combat scenes were really well done. The fight scenes, I was kind of wondering, you know, because I don't know how you'd really show it, because the Dothraki have a different fight style and they have different weapons and all this stuff, and you know, but they didn't really kind of like go into that. They just showed them like butchering and fighting and stuff. But at least it's more fighting than they showed at Highgarden and Unsullied and stuff. It was like just a lot more in depth, which I feel was like really needed that they could do in some of those other circumstances, situations. But you know, so but those scenes were kind of shafted. But so you know. And you had that the Derek or whatever, the younger lieutenant whatever guy, he's, you know, saved Jaime, and they had their little nod moment and whatever, and then Bronn was tasked with readying the giant crossbow, and he was being chased by a Dothraki, and this is another thing that kind of annoyed me. So, you know, you have Drogon going through torch and everything, and so, you know, you've got all these, you know, yeah, I was just going to say, because that's like their supplies. I don't know what else, but it was like all the food, they were looking for the food and all that stuff, and for the long winter and or whatever they call it, the long night. But, you know, that's all like torch, I'm assuming, and whatever other treasure, whatever they had. I don't know if they could melt that, but, you know, so just pretty much toasted everything, and which plays a part into the whole Cersei's, because they were going to pay the Iron Bank their debt, so, and you know, so that's going to put a big crimp on that, and who knows what that's going to entail eventually, you know. So I guess we didn't really highlight that scene, but I have liked the scenes with Cersei and the Iron Bank, the representative, so but you know, so, but anyway, the dragon torched all that, so that's fucked.
And I like some of the well, there's a lot of action in the fight scene, but I liked some of the one-liners that were popping up here and there. So it was like when Bronn went to go get for the what is it just called, the giant catapult? Or I mean, it's a crossbow. The crossbow, thank you. The crossbow, you know, and he makes an exchange with Jaime, and Jaime's like, well, I can't do it. I can't do it one-handed, you know. And it's just like quick little one-liners that worked well, I feel like.
Well, technically, I feel that's probably a fact.
Well, it's a fact, but it's also a little bit comedic, too, because he just, like, his expression was like, well, I can't do it.
He should know, but it wasn't really like a wit thing. It was like, dude, I got one fucking hand.
Right.
So,
and Bronn was
like, gotta do the thing, you know,
but he looked like disgusted when he had to do it, you know.
Well, because he's like, feels like he's the little, you know, punk
and it's basically like, off to your death, you know.
So Bronn does go to arm he goes to the catapult, and this is one of the things I had issue with too, is like the Dothraki, there's one chasing him and whatever, and then it's kind of like covered or whatever, and the Dothraki goes in there because he saw that's where Bronn went, and instead of Bronn just like waiting for him and getting the drop on him or whatever, he's, you know, ready the crossbow and shoots him with the bolt, and, you know, kills the Dothraki, and I'm like, okay, as a scene, I guess that's kind of cool. Sweet. Like, one, I'm assuming they have multiple crossbows, because I was surprised they even had one. But it makes sense they kind of do, but they must have multiple. Because there shouldn't just be the only one they have is out with that army.
Right.
Like, because they could think that they're going to get attacked by dragons, so they want them at you know, the Red Keep or whatever, and just the capital. So, I don't know. But, either way, so they have the crossbow, and he literally uses one of the bolts on the Dothraki. And I'm like, you literally see the dragon torching everybody. Now you have to reload it. Yeah. And like, so you reveal, you know, he opens it up, and great scene. Like, it was awesome. Yeah. And like, and I love Bronn. So just in general, I don't know, it was all great. But then he had to reload it. I'm like, really? Like, he's fairly smart. Right. Like, you're gonna waste a bolt on a Dothraki instead of I guess, like, I don't know.
Second decision,
I don't know. Well, he had to be waiting there for a while with everything going on until Dothraki showed up, so I don't know. But either way, that was something that I was like, come on, that's not, to me, realistic. Bronn would have probably done something different, but either way. So, and then he, he actually does hit Drogon with the bolt, so... I took 2 shots. At least it wasn't like the first one that would have sucked. I was thinking it was going to be the first one. I'm like, come on. Like, they haven't even probably practiced with this thing. No. They probably don't.
What would they practice on?
I don't know. Like, that's what I mean. It's like, I don't know how they use it or whatever. They don't even show them trying to use it in general.
No.
Like, and so it'd be nice. That's a little detail thing too, but it's like, okay,
well, like you said, they only have so many.
Yeah, this alchemist inventor guy just made this, and now, like, they know how to use it. Like, they've never used that before, from my understanding. So, right. I don't know. But either way. So, he hits Drogon, and then Drogon goes, nutsos, destroys it. And thankfully, Bronn got away. I was actually thinking he might be toast there.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was going to be it. But he got out of there, and then we got the scene where, Daenerys dismounts and tries to pull the bolt out.
Yeah.
And I really love this scene too. It's all one scene, but like this moment where, like, it showed Jaime just even throughout the combat, he was like watching people get torched, and he was just like, "What do I do?" Like, it's just like this is insane kind of thing. And he's just sitting there, and he's like, it's almost like he's calculating and trying to, like, he's kind of in shock and kind of like calculating, like, okay, she's getting her stuff off, and then he sees like that spear, and then if it's one thing he's not, he might be stupid in a way, as because you love, like, Tyrion, because Tyrion is overwatching on the hill or whatever, and he's like,
but Tyrion's magically there too.
Yeah, that was another thing. It's like, I didn't think he would be there, but so and like, just kind of like, run, you fool, kind of thing, or whatever. And
you
like,
idiot,
fucking idiot. Like, it was like awesome, because like, but one thing he's not a coward.
No,
like he knows if he kills her, like, potentially ends the war period. That might be it.
Right.
Like, and so, he went for it, where most people wouldn't.
Right.
Like, as stupid as it was, because I know I wouldn't have.
Right.
I would not go by that dragon at all. I wouldn't, nope. So, and he just starts charging, and readies to attack her, and then all of a sudden, Drogon obviously is aware. You kind of saw this coming, and I literally thought he was toast.
Oh, gosh.
So I thought Bronn was toast, and I thought he was for sure toast. And I was like, oh, man, that's how fucking Jaime dies. Like, I was like, that's badass, but, like, that sucks, because I like Jaime personally, but, I don't know. So, yeah. But, otherwise, somebody saved him. Someone knocked him off the horse, and they fall into the lake, and I don't know who. I thought maybe Bronn. I mean, it was somebody with some longer hair, and it didn't really show, so I don't really know who it was. But it makes me curious, and it kind of just ends the episode, and they're just floating down, meaning focusing on Jaime, like, floating down, and I don't know if he can get out, or how he'll get out, or hopefully he doesn't drown. That would kind of suck.
Right.
Probably want to get torched rather than that, but
hopefully he can get his hand off before he drowns.
Yeah, but that's got to be heavy, and he's got his armor on, and so I don't know. But yeah, so I thought this was a really good episode.
Yeah.
Personally, despite some of those annoyances, some of those little gaps and details that were not touched upon, and I personally rate this Oh My Nuts rating of 9.25.
I think it's a 9. Yeah.
9?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good, and I enjoyed it a lot too. A lot of great dialogue scenes that were interspersed with the action. So I think it's a good combination of both.
Yeah, and I think it was done well, that compared to some of the others, and some of the combat, some of the fighting and stuff was way better in this episode. Obviously, they took a little more care with this, and more attention, just maybe not to those finer details that I would have liked.
Yeah.
But, otherwise, yeah, I feel like it was a great episode.
Yeah, totally.
So it's probably one of my tops, for me anyway. So how about you? What did you think of this episode? We'd like to know in the comments below. What do you think is going to happen to Jaime? I mean, it's hard to say. Like we said, we don't watch the end deals for the next preview or whatever, preview for the next episode, so we're kind of in the dark.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do you think is next in store for Jaime, and what they're going to do with the Dothraki, and are they going to continue to the capital, or what the whole deal is? And yeah, if you know if Littlefinger's on Arya's list, I'm really kind of curious. I don't want to look it up. I kind of want to just know if anybody knows. So, but yeah, let us know in the comments below. And yeah. But yeah. So, anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think
no. All right.
Sums it up.
Cool. All right. Well, I thought this would be way shorter, but we're hitting that half-hour mark that we seem to hit. I don't know how, but I thought we were talking fast. But anyways, yeah. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more content. Check out some videos below. I believe they're down there. And otherwise, until next time, take care.
Bye.